In the previous episode, we talked about integration test, testing multiple units at the same time. Today, we will learn what is an end-to-end test. An end-to-end test is a type of test that verifies the entire flow of an application, ensuring that all components in a system work together as expected. In iOS, end-to-end tests are usually written as UI test. UI test validates how elements like buttons, views, and transitions behave when your app is running. In this video, we'll explore how to set up a UI test in Xcode, how to simulate user actions, and some tips to make your test more reliable without depending on web API calls. Alright, here we are in the demo we saw last time. As you remember, this is a list of products that we can just send to a cart, like here, for example. We can go to this cart to confirm the purchase, and we can just confirm the payment process, and we are good to go. Now, everything that I did now, well, I did it manually, right? With my fingers or my mouse in this case. The point of UI test is to do that automatically. And as I said before, UI test is part of the end-to-end test because they need to start from me doing an action in the UI, and then the UI will call internally all the layers, components that will render the information in the screen, but also loading the data from database or calling the business logic, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things happening under the hood. And the way we want here is to avoid for me manually testing that and confirming, okay, everything is fine, because it's time consuming and because maybe I can skip a few tests or steps here, and I want to make it better. I want to make this test way faster. We're gonna do that. We're gonna create a UI test that automatically will select an amount of items from these couple of items in the list. They will be sent to the cart, and automatically we will press the pay button and we will confirm the purchase. Everything that I did right now will be done automatically. Okay. Last time for UI tests for unit tests and integration tests, we use Swift testing, the new framework provided by Apple. However, if you want to use UI tests directly in Xcode, your only way to do it is using Xcode. Swift testing is not supporting UI tests yet, although I think in the future it might happen. Okay, but for now, if you're watching this video, the time I'm releasing it, well, Xcode is your only option. All right, we need then to start UI tests. How can I do it? The first step is first adding a new target. Okay, so we're gonna go here with new and target, and we are going to type here UI, and automatically you will see this UI testing bundle. This is the target that we need, right? So we're gonna click here. We're gonna leave it as it is, UI test. We're gonna select the project, that is the only one. And the target to be tested is important because we're creating a new target related to a UI test. And the purpose of this is because we want to test a target related to the app itself, okay? This case is online store MV demo. So we click finish. There you go. Now, two things have happened. One is that we have this new target, but the other is that we have now a folder with default UI test and launch test. Just to clarify, this won't be an exhaustive UI test through Xcode. I want to show you just a few basic concepts of UI testing using Xcode, but this is not a tutorial to learn and understand Xcode for UI tests. Okay, so if you would like to have one series in detail, like I did for Swift testing, please let me know in the comments. But that being said, we don't need that for now, although it's important, a really interesting tool. Watch this later, launch test. So we're gonna remove this guy here. Yes. And here we got some templates about UI tests. Let me just quickly review this. So one of the things here is that we have a setup with error. As you remember, in the Swift testing series, we migrate setup and turn down to init. But basically, this little method here will be executed every time you run a UI test. And there is an important thing here. Continue after failure. That's basically that, right? If you got an error in your UI test, well, the execution will stop. But if you send this to true, well, the execution will continue, right? Normally, this is the way you should do it. But if you, for some reason, have other situation and you prefer to keep going, it's up to you. And turn down the same. Every time we end a test, a UI test, this method will be executed. And we have default, a test example, and launch performance. I'm going to remove this because I'm going to move the test files right here, okay, in this test configuration. I'm going to create a new group, and I'm going to call it UI inside of test. And now I'm going to create a file from template. And I'm going to use UI again. And you will see here we have exit test, UI test. We're going to select this one. And we can leave this, this class name. Okay. Now, this is important. You need to select the target here. The target shouldn't be this guy, but this one. The UI test target that you just created. There will be like an Objective-C origin header. Honestly, I don't need that. And if anyone has used one of those configurations, please let me know in the comments. But for now, for me, I don't need it. So, downgrade. Now, we got another template by default, okay, with the same information. Let me get rid of all of this information. And we don't need teardown for now. And we also don't need the launch performance test for now, although again, it's really interesting. Okay. This is the minimal configuration that you need. Here we have a text example and we have this app object, okay? This is basically the representation of your app through XCUI, okay? And here, from here, you can do a couple of things related to your app. The most important is launching the app. If you don't execute this, your test will not be invoked. And that's why we need this one, okay? So you can have a set of configuration here, but once everything is done for your app, then you can just start your test using this launch method. An app has a lot of information. We can use environments. We'll see that in a moment. We can detect what is the state of the app, if the app is running, or if it's in background, or etc. So you can do not running background, etc., etc. So yeah, there are more information about it, but I want to keep it simple for now. Now, how can we start? First off, let me just bring the name of what we want to test here. I'm going to replace this for test pay order, okay? Because that's what we want to test. And yeah, the name could be better, but just for you to get the idea quickly. All right, so we are ready to start. But how can we do it? Well, one option is just directly understanding the documentation, maybe watching some examples and trying to, figure out by yourself what is the syntax for this framework. But there is another way. And there is one here. For some reason, it is not showing here. Well, there is a button here that it's to record a UI test. That means it will invoke Xcode. It will open the app in a simulator, and then it will record every interaction I do with the app. See, if I click in a particular button, the framework will generate all that boilerplate code for me for free, okay? But for some reason, have you seen now, it is not working. I don't know why. So give me 1 second to fix that, because Xcode is always giving surprises.
2,000 years later.
Okay, I had to restart Xcode because for some reason the button was not working. And look at that. Now it's working. All right. Let's press the button. And now see what happened. I'm going to start just easy. I don't want to make the full UI test right now because it will be a lot of code. But let's see what happened when I touch a few of the items. So there we go. Okay. We touch this list. We touch one item here. We scroll. Okay, that's a bit slow. Okay, now we go to cart. There we go. That will be it. I want to stop the execution now. There we go. Whoa, we got a lot of data here. Like I said, this code was generated because I touched the application. Okay, so let me get rid of this because we already have this. And there are a couple of things happening here. And that is like, wow, what the hell is that? Well, the first thing is the app is trying to figuring out what is the object, the element in the screen that I touch, okay? Right now, we need some view queries using these app collection views. So app has a different set of views or components that we can use. For example, collection views is more for collection views, but also for table, list in SwiftUI, etc. But there are other components like cells, static text. If we want to, directly review if there is a text with some label inside of it. What else? We have, activity indicator, for example, if we want to, review that something is loading, etc., etc. So there are a couple of things that you can review offline. But the thing is that XCTest doesn't have any clue about, okay, this guy touched something in the screen. It is related to your collection view, okay? Now we need then, for example, for cell, figuring out based on this query or this collection view query, we need to figure out what was the element, and so on, right? But this is a good start, but it's not efficient. We need to provide a way for XCTest to identify what is the UI we're talking about, okay? And for that, there is one great tool, which is called Accessibility Identifier. As the name suggests, accessibility identifier are more related to accessibility features. For example, if someone has any issues with the vision, this person can just, maybe invoke with the phone or just touching in a specific area, but not touching elements, maybe be guided through other kind of commands to navigate through the application without directly interacting with an object, but through commands, voice commands, etc. So we can talk about that later because accessibility is a very interesting and very long topic. But for this particular topic that we're talking, UI test, it is great because we can just identify, okay, this is the item I'm looking for. And they will save a lot of time for your tests or the framework to figure out, okay, what is the element, okay? So for that, let's go here to product list. We want to add a couple of accessibility items to one of the UI components. The first one I want to add is here. I want to add one for ProgressView, an accessibility identifier that is a modifier, and we are just adding an ID. This ID could be anything you want, okay? I'm just using this one for my convenience. And let me navigate through other components. This is the list, okay? The list you're seeing on the screen. So here I want to use accessibility identifier product list. And lastly, we have button, the Go to Car button. I want to add one more here. This will be really useful in a moment. Those three items for now will be needed, but also I want to add a few of them for the CartList. Let me go here. I want to add one for the CartList. This is the guy here. Let me go to the button. Yeah, this is the button to the pay button. Yeah, am I right? Yeah, it's the pay button. And lastly, let me go straight here. And we're going to identify this ProgressView payment. Okay. Okay. With that in place, now we can easily now identify collection views. Now, how can we do that? Well, instead of calling this like that thing, we can call it product list, and using this dictionary format, using product list. Okay. Now, automatically, the framework will figure out, okay, I know what is the component you are needed for your test. You will save a lot of time. Let me just comment this code for now, because it will be making a lot of noise. Right now, we just got that, but in the full test, there will be a couple of other things. For example, if we start the application, by default, the list is not shown. We need to first show the activity indicator, right? This is the loading state. And then once the loading state detects that everything is done, now we move that, we get rid of the automatic activity indicator, and we show the list. We will need a way to make sure that we are waiting for the product list to be visible in the screen. For that, we can add an XT assert like we use for unit test, saying the product list, we will have to wait for existence and having a timeout of 3 seconds. That's a lot because normally it's not taking that so long, but this is just for maximum timeout in case we got the timeout. That means something is wrong. Maybe someone is blocking the UI or something, and well, we need to find out what's going on. We are adding here just an error message saying, yeah, the product list should appear. I'm going to add here one particular thing. Yeah, I'm adding here ProgressView, and now I'm looking through an activity indicator that I just added the ID, and the same, we are waiting for existence, and we are adding a 5 seconds time for that. So let's run that right now just to see what happened. Okay, as you saw, we got the ProgressView, and we got later the product list. But for some reason, we are getting this issue. ProgressView should appear. Well, there is an issue, and I will explain that very quickly. I think the framework is trying to look through that item, but that item is showing or appearing really quick because the data that we are loading right now is in the web service, the web API, sorry. So for us, it is there, but maybe internally, in terms of memory, it is not there anymore. And at the time we are waiting for that, or the test is running, we don't have anything yet. And we are waiting for something that just happened seconds ago or so. There is a way to fix that, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video. But for now, I'm going to keep it here. Okay, this is important. And one of the key pieces is that we are connecting to a web API. And we will have to figure that out if that's a good idea or not. Anyway, let's move on. Right now, we're gonna keep product list. Let me see first if I can wait for it. Okay, maybe there is something wrong here with this file. Oh, there you go. There are 2 target memberships for some reason. Let me get rid of that. There you go. Okay, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, as you can see now, the test is passing because product list is appearing because we are waiting for 3 seconds. That's good. Okay, now we got that. Now, what about this? So as you see right here, we got our cell, we need to get through all the childrens from the list, matching components called cell, and just getting the element 0, okay? One thing just to notice is that when we normally work with lists, we think in terms of data, right? So like an array from 0 to n minus 1. Even though the data is not displayed in the screen yet, we consider it as, okay, so 0 to n. Here in UI test, remember, it's UI. So we are not talking about in terms of data, but in terms of UI. So if the cells are rendered in the screen, they will appear. And element 0 doesn't mean array number 0, array element number 0. What I'm talking about is that, let me just run the app again. There we go. Right now here, this is the element 0, okay? If I click on it, that's fine. But look at that. This jacket is, technically speaking, the element number 2 in the array. But in terms of the UI, this is the element 0, because this is the top cell that you're seeing in the screen. And this one is number 1. I'm saying that because that doesn't mean that if you scroll up in your UI test, the number 0 could change. Just to think about it. Like, I don't know if I'm doing that here, but if you scroll so much here, like using this command, for example, element swipe up, that you can also simulate the scroll, that number 0 could become another another data in terms of what you're showing the screen. Hope that makes sense. Remember, these UI cells right now are 0, 1, but in terms of data, they are different. They maybe are 2 or 3. Okay, hope that makes clear. Even if we go to the bottom, okay, this TB, I don't know, maybe this is element number 10, but in reality, in terms of the cell ID or cell UI, this is element 0 because that's the one that we are showing right now. Okay, but I can just clean up that a little bit. Instead of just showing that directly, I just make this much better for you. I'm adding, this is basically the same code, but in a better way. Because here we, again, we have to navigate through the cell and figure out other things. I just try to clean it up a little bit, just to not waste so much time here. But here, for example, if you want to look for cell 1, I'm using the product list and navigating through the children's matching cells, and I'm getting the element number 0, which is at the top. Now, from that element, I'm adding a button. I'm getting the button add to cart. Here, I don't need the ID because I can use the label in the button has my ID. This is, I think it's convenient if you can identify really quick a text, for example, or a button right away here. So that's why I'm doing, and I'm avoiding to creating another accessibility ID. Although if you prefer it, that's fine. But just keep in mind that, for example, this particular item is a cell, and that item could be repeated over and over across the cell. So just if you want to look through a specific item, well, just think about it. But for that, that works for me. So now we identify the button, and now we can tap it. Okay, there are actually other kind of I don't know if present. Yeah, you can simulate, for example, a long press or other things that will happen in real life. But right now here, I just want to tap. And now, once we tap this, as you remember, I'm adding, and now the button is changed. Now, instead of add to cart, it's saying the number, okay? Or actually, it's becoming a minus and a plus button. And that's what I'm doing now. Now, I'm getting the plus button from cell 1, and I'm tapping again and again, okay? Now, we are getting a total of 3 items in the cart, okay? And the total is 3. Now, I have other two activities I want to show you here. Okay, I'm adding another item. In this case, I'm using cell number 2. I'm using the same, but now using the pound number 1 because it is still visible. Okay, but after that, I do 2 swipe ups. Okay, I'm scrolling the application. Okay, and I'm doing the same. I'm tapping the Add to Cart button just once. And that means I'm adding 1 item, and my total is 4. And lastly, I'm now identifying the cell number 3. That again, it is number 0, the same as this one. Okay, but now since that we scroll up, the cell, that particular cell number 3, is at the top. So that means it becomes the element 0 in the screen. Once we got that, we do the same. We tap, and we tap 2 times the plus button. In that way, internally, this is sending this set of items to the cart. But in reality, in your UI, we're just seeing transitions about the Add to Cart button to a button, a minus and plus button with some numbers. Okay. Now we are ready for that. Now, if we want to go to this button here, go to cart, we just created another piece of data. But before moving further, let me do something here. Let me get rid of that. I think you got the point. Now, let me do this. Let me record again. And now let me press the go to cart button because we added an identifier. Okay? And that will help to the recording session to be more precise in the way of how we build the code. Actually, let me just do it as it is. Okay, now let me close that. Okay, sometimes this is not super reliable, to be honest. Xcode is always doing things. Okay, go to cart, please. There you go. Hopefully. There you go. Okay. Okay. I was honestly expecting a better interpretation of this. Oh no. Wait. For some reason it's not tapping. It's not getting the UI that I was looking for. It is just detecting the close button in the cart. Okay, whatever. Let me do this. Let me get rid of that. And I just created another go to cart button here with from the set of buttons in the screen. I'm looking for go to cart button here, and I'm going to tap it. By the way, this is a great example of sometimes Xcode. Well, this record session, record UI test is not reliable, and well, it's a good tool for you to starting. But I would recommend you, if you want to dedicate to create UI tests in detail, it's the best way for you to, understand the framework, right? And get and optimize your UI test for making it faster. Okay. But anyway, let's run this just to get something because I think it will be good. Let me go back here. Look how this is working. Yeah. And it's automatically, I'm not touching anything and it's working. There you go. Yeah, you saw that the items are there, right? The test is passing, which is great. Okay, now the next step will be adding a cart list, okay? And I'm following the same like we did for product list. We are waiting for existence, timeout of 3 seconds. I am configuring the pay button, again, same process like other buttons above. Okay, getting the button and tap it. Now, I'm getting also the confirmation alert. The first alert that you're seeing once you press the tap button. Okay, the pay button. Here again, I don't need a specific ID for the alert, but I'm using what is in the title of the alert, okay, to identify this alert. And I'm adding an 3 seconds buffer just for existence. And this is another way, again, to see that, to look for items in your UI. Once that is done, there will be a alert description from that confirmation alert. Let me move this here. And just to confirm that everything is fine, I'm looking for a static text in the alert. Okay, this is the way we can do it. There are a couple of things. For example, here I'm looking through bound or element 1 because let's call it in this way. The title is number 0, the description is number 1, and so on. It could be other items under the hood, but that's the way I found just to get the description right away. Okay, so this is the description. Now we're looking for the alert description containing 130, which is the amount or total amount I want to get from particular items here. Okay, and probably this will fail, but I will fix it in just a moment. And we tap the button yes from the confirmation alert. 3 more steps. One is that once we tap, we should see the progress view, okay, activity indicator with, I'm adding a timeout of 3 seconds. After that, we should see a thank you alert that I'm getting right now, and I'm using it to identify button done and tap it. And lastly, for this test, I'm getting product list back because that is the final step. We end the operation, we close the cart, and we should see the product list again. And I'm adding a waitForExistence of 3 seconds. And that's it. Technically speaking, that's it. Now, let's run this again and see what happened. Okay, it's running. It is scrolling down, selecting the product. Confirmation. Okay, here it's a little bit different. And I will tell you why. Yeah, but at least we are ensuring that this is working as expected. I'm gonna get rid of this for now, okay? Because I'm gonna fix the data in a moment. Let me run this again. Okay. Working as expected. Thank you. Okay. Nice. Okay, everything got fine, but we got an error here. And again, the progress view is failing. Okay, again, I think because, I don't know, this is happening too quickly, and we send the data and we receive back data. I don't know, but it's failing. Okay, let's get rid of that also, and try to just confirm that everything else is working. And we're gonna fix those progress views and alerts in just a moment. Okay. To cart. We tap yes. There we go. Finally. Okay, we got a success with some conditions. But now everything, as you saw, it was a little bit of work, but we made it, right? We now got a UI test using, well, all these components. Nice. But the problem is that, again, we are using a real network call. And the problem is that if you lost connectivity or so, your test will fail. You won't be able to execute this. And one of the things for testing is to make them reliable. However, here is tricky, right? Because we need to add some kind of mocking process or so. But since that this is a UI test and it's end to end. So how can we do that, right? Because here we are not dealing with root view or product list directly. We are literally using the XCUI application, okay? Remember at the beginning that I said there are a couple of configurations for this app object? Well, let's use one of those for simulating. The same way we use for other examples. Let me go back here to network. We have here our API client that is very simple. But here we have the live instance with the real calls. Okay, I'm using fake store API, by the way. But also I have other instances of test success, test empty, or test error if we want to show errors every time. This is good. But we use that for unit tests because, again, I don't want to rely on external factors here. We have to do the same. I'm going to do that, unless for this particular environment, because I don't want to interfere with network issues or something like that. Okay. But let me step back. How can we tell the framework that instead of using the real web API, we should use a faker API? Well, let me do a couple of things here. The first thing is I'm going to use this environment here. App has something called launch environment, and you can see this as a configuration or some kind of a flag that you can add to your test. Okay, it could be anything, right? This is not for Power Framework, so this is a particular ID that I just created for me. Okay, this launch environment will create something called UI testing enable equal to yes. Okay, and this is completely up to me. You can create your own flags if you need. Okay, if you need to, draw your app in red color because you love it in your UI, that's fine. But here, I'm just telling the app that this will be alive. Okay, now once we got that, we can, under the hood, understand that, okay, we are running in UI tests, and this is not a real run process, or at least not production environment. Okay, then how can we use this variable? Well, we're gonna tell the app that once this configuration is set, then we're running in UI test mode. For that, let's go to root view here. Okay, this is the entry point of the application. Well, technically it's this one, but I'm right now setting everything here in root view. Okay, we're gonna create an extension of root view. I think we can do it better, but I will do it here just for demo purposes. I will add this variable, UI test running. And what's going on here? Well, just to keep it simple, there is this variable process info.environment that is basically getting whatever you put here in the launch environment. So in this way, we can get that. We can identify, okay, if this variable exists and is equal to yes, then that means UI test is running. Okay, that's the way you can then figure out, okay, we are in UI test mode. Now we can then create a API client private function to configure what is the actual API client that we want to use here. The step we're gonna do, I'm gonna use, we're gonna review if, or instead of guard, we'll say, okay, if UI test is running, we're gonna send a particular instance here. If not, we're gonna return, we're gonna return live, okay? That is what right now we should add here. Let's do that for car store. AP client equal to AP client. Okay. Okay, there you go. Now let's do the same with Prog Store. There you go. Now we can then identify what is the instance we want. If it's normal, we will use live session. If not, we're going to use UI test running. We're going to use whatever we got here. And let's go back to API network. We're going to configure something for the UI test. Okay, now let me add something here. And I'm going to create UI test success. And I'm going to create my own set of things. Oh, and yeah, I would like to add a new set of samples here in my product. We're going to go here to, where is it? Product. I'm going to add something right here. Okay. Oops, sorry, I need to create an extension. Product, there we go. Now, this is just data that I just added, similar to other product sample that I created. Now, let me go back to here, and it should work. Yeah, great. Okay. Now, instead of all the instances, I'm going to use, let me go back here. I'm going to use .ui test. And if you're using the new syntax, we can do that, right? Else. There you go. Yeah. It's up to you. All right. Now let's test what we just did. Let me go back here. And first off, let's test as it is right now to see just if we got a problem. Let's run the app. Okay, it's working. Remember, we are using mock data. All the images in there, I just configure everything to look identical, but it's, running locally. Okay. We got a problem. What is the problem? Okay, maybe here we just need QLer equal to that. Okay, we can add this, and we can add a similar XCT insert through. Okay, and we can use something like thank you alert dot wait for existence timeout 3 seconds, and we can use something like this. So thank you alert should appear after pain. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on, honestly. Well, I don't know if it's related to something that I'm doing wrong here, but let me first now check the configuration of ProgressView, because that's one of the reasons I wanted to use the mock information. Okay. And also let me uncomment this because now the 130 will happen. Let me run this again. Oh, yeah, ProgressView cart. Yeah, let's use it as it is. Okay, there we go. Okay, we are just watching this, pressing the button, confirm purchase. It is fine. Thank you. Okay, something is wrong here. Give me 1 second to figure out what is the problem.
One eternity later.
Okay, I couldn't find something, but I got an idea that I want to explore with you together. Let me just try to run the application again.
3 days later.
Okay, I couldn't find anything yet, but I would like to explore something together. Let's run the application again and use the recording button. This is good for you to understand, okay, maybe sometimes things like that happen, a button or an UI element is not recognized. But yeah, I'm having issues right now because, well, I test this offline and for some reason it's not working. But let's see, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Data is there. I'm just gonna add one item here. We'll go to cart. I'm gonna press confirm purchase. Yes. Thank you. That's it. Okay. Please work. Okay. There you go. We got everything here. We tap. Confirm your alert. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna keep this. Gonna use this thank you alert, as I said. And I'm gonna get rid of this because I don't need it. And I'm going to use whatever it is here. So I'm using thank you alert, scroll views or elements buttons, whatever. So I can fix that later, but again, you can use that in case you thought everything was identified and for some reason not. Okay, let me run this one more time and let's pray for that to work. Okay. We press confirm purchase. Thank you order. What? Why is not working? Oh no, it's working. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was scared about it. Okay. Nice. There we go. We just configured the project using UI test mode. We got here to create a new environment. Okay. And we now got all the IDs related to the flow we want to show. We want first to show the progress view, then the product list, then selecting the items in the cell, then go to the cart, finally purchasing, tapping the pay button, and just waiting for the code to get back to us, and so on and so on. I know maybe this test could be better distributed or so. I just wanted to distribute to show you an end-to-end flow. As I said in the previous episodes, the more flows are involved here, the more components involved, the worse will be in case of time-consuming and breaking things. If I change any single component here, any single element in the UI, this test should be also refactored. The way I'm seeing it is that you should always rely mostly on UI tests and integration tests, and UI tests for specific situations, right? And this is just one framework, UI test. There are other frameworks for automation. That automation is a broader topic here. That you can use other kind of other languages, but the point is that you have an alternative. This is just one, and as you saw, it has some trade-offs and advantages. It could be some tedious if you are not familiar with the way how things should work. But once you get the idea how to get the UI elements and you establish your flow, you wait for your elements, everything goes smooth. Before ending the session, I just wanted to show you a better version of the demo you saw. And this demo particularly has one cool feature. I added a test mode and just updated what was in the root view to identify if I need a UI test running, and also if I want success or failure mode. And from that, I can even test if my API client is running, and I can also get other kind of information. Let me just run it really quick. Let's see, now we are trying to load data, but we got an intentional error. And if we go back here, yeah, I'm also testing the error flow, okay? And Well, the same is basically getting the ID UI elements from ID. And in this case, I'm getting an error images just to demonstrate that something is wrong with my network call. You can get more information about this demo, the full demo, in the description below. And that will be the end of this testing one-on-one series. Remember, if you want to learn more about a particular testing feature or exit test or something else related to Swift, please leave it in the comments down below. That's it for me. Thank you so much and have a great day.